Let's get a mic check here. Oh boy, I sound good to me. I sound a little distant. I don't know what that's about. But it's coming through. It's coming through, chat. My camera's not gonna work because I opened OBS when I was on a call, so that's that. I was all dressed up too. All dressed up. Time to cook says Seb. Seb and Sep. Not easy names to discern between one another. Ghost on Twitter. They can hear me on Twitter. They can hear me. We're here. Let's take a look at what we can see here. Good little bounce of Rooney across the board here over the past couple days. Still in September. If you ladies and gents like this streaming time better than Thursday, let me know. I think we've missed the past 2 Thursdays at this point. And markets have gone up. So maybe it's just me. Maybe we should just stop streaming altogether and just let the chips fall as they may. Yeah, things are turning up. I think what's most interesting to me is gold slowed down. I don't know for how long necessarily. It would be unusual for gold and BTC to move together. Not impossible. Just call it XAU USD. It's slowed down a little bit. I mean, it's consolidating. It's not like it doesn't look terrible, right? So that's the interesting thing here. It has reached one of the profit levels just based on the pattern. So how much more to expect in the near term? Not sure. I haven't looked at the flows for gold, but people like the stream better on Friday. I kind of do too. Originally, I was like, why don't I give myself Friday, Saturday off back to back? But maybe it's just better for everybody if we do it on Friday. Anyway, gold still looks okay, looks fine. The fundamentals are clearly there for gold. Technicals still look excellent. That's not really the issue. The issue is always relative value. You know, like if BTC crypto in general looks weak or looked weak and this didn't, this was the place to be. Is it, the question I'm asking myself is it too early to rotate out of this and into the other stuff back? Like, is everybody back in the pool? Somebody's mentioning grab. Another Seb. We have another Seb. That's unusual. We have Seb, Sebastian, Sep. I bet there's another Seb out there. Nawanda didn't even bring Thursday calls. It's Friday. Anyway, so the point is, right? Like if you're actively trading this, as anybody listening to this stream probably is, what have you been up to? Have you just been eating the downside, which is totally fine? You know, a lot of this stuff, Oklo, is back to where you'd want it to be. There's a little bit of an Adam and Eve there on the daily, little W on the Kijun. That this is all good. I didn't like collectively as a group how all this was setting up, along with BTC weakness, along with legacy indice weakness. That appears to have passed. Where you can get chopped up is if you say, you know what, I nailed this gold trade, as many of you did, because you told me you did, along with me. You know, if you nailed this gold trade and you're rotating probably appropriately at this point into other stuff, and gold keeps going, and something like Rigetti, you know, stops or slows down or reverses, then you're just chasing. So, you know, what's the best course of action here? I think what makes sense is probably to just trim a little bit of the low volatility stuff or half of it and try again on the high volatility stuff. I could care less what the percentage of Rigetti's up today or anything at any point in time. It's not about that. It's always about, do you have confidence in confirmation of direction? So in this case, we had a head and shoulders here on Rigetti. That appears to be negated, nullified, right? We got the higher high finally today with a 13% day, at least so far. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, I'm talking to myself here, but grab is another one, same deal, right? This looked weak. for a while. We just had a bunch of like fake breakouts down chop, and now we're back, right? We're back. I think if you're trading this on technicals, you know, again, I'm talking about myself here. You're trimming this when it looks weak, when it looks like the breakout's not going to happen, and then you're adding it back on when you think it's going to happen. Grab, Oklo, Galaxy was another one. Um, you know, you never really want to see this stuff dip deep into the cloud like that after the breakout. You don't want to see that. Gold and GDX into BMNR 2 days ago. See, Dangles, I've also been gone, not to excuse this, but I haven't been doing anything with my own personal stuff because I've just been gone for a couple days. But yeah, it's tough because, you know, even if you're doing well with the gold stuff, you're like, man, did I miss all this stuff today? I think it's less about today and more about what is the risk reward today relative to what it was a few days ago. You know, a few days ago, this looked like a dead trade. All of these kind of look dead. Oklo, Galaxy, Rigetti, anything in that universe, in that vein that was sort of moving together. And looks better today, I can say that. Tesla was one that had looked good. Damn, it's up 7. Tesla had looked good for a while. It just was chopping. It's similar to Solana, right? Like, I mean, this is kind of the Solana chart. I think the same people are trading both charts, not in a disparaging way. It's just this is the type of individual, right, who's trading this stuff. And just like ETH, the longer you can hold above the cloud, the better. Good things happen above the cloud. And you can point to any fundamental news why this shouldn't be the case. And usually it matters a lot less than the technicals that I've noticed, right? And I don't like the company. I'm just trading the technicals. You know, I've said that before. So it just is what it is, right? You had your consolidation, you had your cloud breakout, and you just have to be patient. And you could probably argue the same for Rigetti. My issue was I can't stay bullish when we're getting like a head and shoulders, right? So that was my issue there. And NVIDIA, I wasn't actively trading this, but this had a head and shoulders that broke down and reached its target. It just didn't continue through the cloud, which is a good thing. You know, we really don't want that. So things look good. Things look good. This is the SPY. It's a new all-time high again. And you still have people, I think more so this week than the past month, than the past 6 months, tons of people coming out of the woodwork saying, you know, the AI thing can't continue. It's a bubble. Oracle thing is nonsense. Okay. I mean, all of that could be very true, but the price is the price. Price pays. I don't know what to tell them. Like, you know, have fun with whatever they're trading, but this stuff is just high volatility in general, but price is going up, right? Price is going up. What does chat think? What is another Sebastian? There's too many Sebastians. Too many people 25 to 30 years ago that watched The Little Mermaid and then named their child Sebastian after the crab. Because that's the only logical explanation. So yeah, Galaxy, it certainly looks better than it did before. Oklo looks better than it did before when it looked like it had failed. What else we got here? Grab. What was the other one? I always forget. Cart. How does Instacart look? Not as good. Toast. What does Toast look like? Toast not as good. See, I wouldn't take a second chance on this versus Grab. That's just me. This is a restaurant POS system. Grab is more. It's more what? I mean, it's similar-ish, but it's also like takeout in a similar universe. So my point is I wouldn't buy Toast because it's, you know, down. I always prefer momentum. I always prefer strength. I don't care that it's up whatever from entry, et cetera, right? Like if you think the risk reward is appropriate, That's all that should matter. Altcoin sending in the next couple months, says Zelva. I mean, it certainly feels like it. If we look at IWM divided by SPY, so this is small cap zombie companies versus. Let's go QQQ. Let's go like the craziest, best companies the world has ever seen in the history of the universe, right? Even this is turning up. Now, admittedly, does it look like this amazing trade in the moment? No, but it kind of starts like this, right? We're above the cloud. This is a relative value trade. IWM has clearly gained over the Qs for the past month. And you're seeing the same with Bitcoin dominance, right? Like, what if we invert this? Isn't this just the Bitcoin dominance chart? Because that's what it is. And maybe it's not multi-year, but it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar to Bitcoin dominance. And you're also seeing that if we compare, let me just pull it up. If you compare coin with IWM, with WGMI, with ETH, with Total 3, all of these, for the most part, have traded super, super tightly. Coin is the outlier today where it is not following and has not been following everything else. So if you're brave, one way to look at this is say, hey, there's a lot of value in coin right now because historically the correlation is basically 1 with the rest of the group. The rest of the group is sending. So this should send. That would be the logic. I don't know if I'm quite there on coin, but typically there's a reason why stuff acts the way it does. It's odd because it had been leading. It had been leading on the way up, correlated on the way down, and then just never recovered. So this is either like crazy undervalued or there's some serious issues here with this correlation. But you would think something like coin would be doing better if basically BTC beta is doing well, aka alt season type behavior. Yeah, I'll take a look at BMNR. BMNR, like all of the treasury companies, I was saying, have been saying on low time frames, 30 minutes specifically. Yeah, that's the right cloud. Why does this look weird? Was it the hourly? Oh, because it's inverted. Ha. I was like, I thought this was above the cloud. What I had been saying is there seemed to have been a pattern with these, because they're essentially leveraged vehicles of the underlying, so this is leveraged ETH, that on low time frames, the entry is never below the cloud for anything, at least for me, right? It was getting back above the cloud. That was the key thing on low time frames, and that's what it's done at 45. Probably most important that ETH has actually turned up and stopped consolidating. So yeah, I don't hate it. The time to use leverage is when you have momentum. The time to use leverage is not when price is consolidating and doing nothing. So yeah, I would co-sign that trade, sure. And I don't know if I would go like way down the stack and say, oh man, the 5th ETH treasury is going to turn around, right? Like, I don't know if I would do that. And you can probably see that if we go to like the list. So here's SBET. Yeah, it's above the cloud. Why not? Is it going to outperform BMNR? I have no clue. But from a trade perspective, you have that on your side at the very least. ALENT kind of looks like more of a mess, but it's also consolidating. Game does not look good. BTCS also turning up after consolidating for a month. I mean, this basically just looks like the ETH chart on low time frames. ICG, no, still bottoming. BTBT has turned up a lot. So, you got to pick your poison. Most people are trading the biggest, right? They want the biggest return, safety in numbers. They're probably either trading SBET or BMNR. Just like on the Bitcoin side, you're probably trading MSTR and you're probably not trading the rest of them. You know, you're not probably not trading Sequins or Naka. Naka, by the way, not looking too hot. Looks pretty sick down here, aka deathly. Just why? Like, why bother? Yes, it had an 88% day, but what's the point of risking capital into this, right? Like maybe you throw a few bucks at it and maybe it's a lottery ticket, but even SMLR is still like what, 84%, 70 something, 78, whatever the MNAV is. Even this to me looks like a better chart than Naka, especially because you have this multi-week downtrend that's trying to bottom. Now the daily chart's like a war crime, you know, like this is ugly. This is super ugly. But I think you have to trade these on low time frames, which people love. People love doing stuff. People love clicking buttons. So if you're going to do that, you know, these are one ways to do that. KULR was another one on the daily. It just has been going straight down. For me, I would just rather sit this out. You know, again, I think most people are just focusing on the leaders anyway. So it is what it is. But it's helped that the AI stuff has had a second wind. Miners, Bitcoin miners, clearly doing very, very well on the data center narrative with the AI spend. WGMI continues to just do what things do above the cloud, right? It got back above in June, it's consolidated a little bit. And here it is at 37. Cores, you know, individually, I think it's pretty easy to spot like the leaders in momentum versus not. Cores doesn't quite look ready to me on the daily. Needs a bullish TK cross, but it's on the right side of the cloud. Wolf has done really well. CleanSpark hasn't done well. And I don't really know. It feels like a lot of people, they either chase the like beta of the beta, or they are like tribal about one miner versus another, or one company in a sector versus another, whatever. But your best bet is generally to focus on the strength, right? So if CleanSpark is doing nothing, then maybe avoid that one and maybe focus on stuff that looks better, right? If you like the sector, fine, but you don't have to trade everything in the sector. Mara has also done nothing. Iren looks great, still looks great. Riot looks okay. You know, this is the Bitfarms, man. What a trade. I'm up over 50% on this. I'd have to check the exact percentage, but this was why. Like, why pick this one over all of the others? I like the pattern. I like the cloud. I like that this sat here for God knows how long and did nothing. And here we are. Okay, what's the next step? Well, you wait for a fractal to appear. Haven't had one. Haven't had a pullback. You let your runners run, or you trim a little bit, or you say you want to sell half on a double, whatever. You know, that's fine too, but there's no reason to do anything here. There's just nothing to do. You're still in the money by a lot. But that's why you have a framework, whatever it is, if it's moving averages, if it's the cloud, and you just keep applying that over and over. Look for your pitch, and that's it. Cypher is also doing okay. You know, my point is like, look, some of these are they're just dead. BT. There may be a trade here weeks from now, but to me, nothing. Hut even looks better. So if I had to rank these, it would be what? Iren, Wolf, Bitfarms, Hut, Cores, CleanSpark, Mara, Riot, Cypher's up here somewhere. You know, something like that. What's Hive doing? Yeah, I'd put Hive in the mix. Hive in the mix, for sure. The other issue with the miners is you have people who are just fanatical about them, and they just assume that you're going to get like a 20x multiple from here or whatever, when in reality, so far, most of these have just like recouped losses. You know, there's clear differentiators in the story, IREN being chief among them. But yeah, just be careful with that logic. I haven't even looked at Bitcoin yet. I haven't even touched the stuff. Let's take a look. Let's go to the crypto cloud. It helps alts that, again, BTC is not dying. That's very bullish for alts. It helps that BTC is kind of just grinding too. It's not stealing all the oxygen out of the room. If you've been watching the ETF flows over the past couple days, BTC has gotten 774 2 days ago, 500 yesterday, I think was. So like the flows are back, which is good. Definitely need that. But more importantly for me, using the framework, the cloud, what do we see? We're getting a bullish TK recross with price above cloud eventually here, probably within the next 2 weeks. We're back above the cloud. Most importantly, I think, is this 4 hour. If we go to like something I wrote on, was it this one? Yeah. This 4 hour inverted head and shoulders never quit. It continued to try and try and try and try. Continued to make higher lows. So that is excellent. You're seeing a pattern form and play out as expected. You're not seeing the daily edge to edge play out, which is, again, if you're bullish, that's what you needed to see. And I think, I haven't seen anybody talk about this. Maybe Ben Cowan has talked about it, but we actually bounced on the 20 week this time, the 140 moving average. We had not been doing that. We didn't do it in February, March. We didn't do it last year, July through October. We didn't do it August, September, October 2023. So we have not supported to the downside like this in a very long time. So as bearish as I was going into this, I think it's definitely fair to be bulled up again because support played out. You're getting a failed short trade effectively. Now this is going to take some time, and this could also fail, right? Again, back to this idea of like getting chopped out on a breakout and then getting chopped up again on a fake out to the downside and then getting chopped up again. That's just part of the game, right? So if you're still bearish here, I wish you luck because it's just less bearish now, right? Like that just is what it is. So ETH looks good. Oh, sorry, BTC looks good. So I'm trying to read chat and think at the same time. Here comes Nwanda with a list. Oh boy, he was lying. He was holding back that alpha this whole time. And let me just write these down. Rig. He's not using spaces. I have to decipher. Oh, TEM is another one. Let's go to that one now. TEM never looked like it failed. It just kind of didn't break out. Another AI thingamabob. It just kind of, lost any will to live at the resistance level for a minute. But yeah, I like it. People look at charts like this and like, oh no, the breakout, it already happened. I'm like, oh yeah, give me more of that. ARB is another one where it's just like, oh no, the breakout already happened. What do you mean the breakout already happened? The breakout just started. What are you talking about? AVAX similar, breakout just started. But the AVAX story is always what you want to see. You want to see continuous higher lows, and you want to see resistance continuously tested. And as messy as Sol has been, that's certainly been the story of Sol. We'll go. Sol has been a hot mess for a long time, but it just continues to make higher lows, continues to make higher highs. The target's still there. All-time high retest, right? So Sol's done well. You just had to be super patient with it. Any rig BKR. I like Sol for higher. or like BTC for hire, TEM for hire, TSLL. Some folks getting into the leveraged Elon game. I like it. Reddit. Yeah, we can look at that one. Nobody's asking crypto. Here we go. HYPD. No, that's, I mean, I guess. So this is the hype dat. I mean, so was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? Somebody asked me about pump, and I was like, chart looks great. I'm not going to trade this. I drew it out on one of these things, didn't I? What did I pull up? Gemini? No. This one. There it is. They were like, you know, on me about not looking at this chart. I was like, okay, fine, here we go. It was a W. You can watch the video from a couple weeks ago. I didn't trade it, so I don't get any credit, but this is the technical part of technical analysis. Like, you see a pattern, you know exactly what to do. You stop, you turn your brain off. You're like, you know what? It's Fartcoin. It's whatever. Technicals are technicals, and here we are. So I'm not going to trade this today still, but that was the time when whoever asked me about it a couple weeks ago. This is my take profit area for this. So I certainly like it a lot less today. Deck. ADA H bar. Link Ripple. Man, who's trading Stellar? Part of this is like personal preference. I always prefer high market cap, technical based stuff, right? So that's why I'm just generally not going to trade this, but not against it. It's just not for me most of the time. ETH, I suppose we'll talk about. A few weeks ago, I was saying this either consolidates or it retests or tests the Kijun, which is currently at 39. At that point, it was at like 36, 34. We sort of held the Tenkin, the blue line, you know, it wasn't clean either way. I don't necessarily love it here either, just on a relative basis. Ask yourself this, is it going to be easier to 2x Sol from here or 2x ETH from here? Is it going to be easier to 2x AVAX from here or ETH from here? And you could say that with any of these coins, right? I'm not trying to talk people out of trading strength as I'm 5 minutes before saying I like high market caps. You know, it doesn't look bad. It's not bearish. It's still, I don't see necessarily a setup here, but it's not bearish, you know, I'll give you that. And it consolidated for a good long while. And it's turning up. It's just, it's in a weird spot, right? Because it's not quite to support and it's back above the resistance level. I don't know. It doesn't look horrible. The daily fractals like it today. This is why I like the fractals, because even if the cloud isn't really giving you a clear picture, you can say, okay, we're making a higher high. That's the trade. That's what it's all about, right? So the last time we made a higher high was August 5th, and we got this push. So maybe it has the juice. I don't know. GRT, QNT. You exited the market. Not quite. I bought a lot of gold before the breakout. I still had a bunch of shitcoin positions, mostly Sol. So I did not exit the market. I have the least amount of BTC I've ever had in a trading wallet. I can tell you that. Turns out the hype shield was right. I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far. Again, people get super tribal. If you want to be honest with yourself, stack up this return against anything. put it on a list. Say, okay, over the past week, is hype up more than everything that I could have traded? I'm guessing that answer is no, but I might be wrong. It's up 20% in the past week. Maybe that's towards the top of the list. We can check. Let's just check. I'm just curious. We can go CoinGecko. Gotta turn on dark mode. All right, 7 days. 7 days. There's Solana at 19, Doge at 26. Okay, so that's certainly more than hype at 20. But it's, you know, it's up there. It's in the highest mantle, whatever. Pepe, whatever. Okay, so it's like top 5 return, basically. You know, WorldCoin, I'm not going to count. MYX, no. Pengu. Pump at 30. So maybe you just fade everything I say. You're like, you know, this guy, his technicals are great, but he never executes on the shit coins. So I'm just going to do what he would do if he wasn't so biased. Bonk up 28. So, you know, clearly it's done very well relative to the group, for sure. I still don't like how it looks. I just don't. It's above the cloud. That should be good enough, right? It made a high a couple days ago, right? 51. But, you know, as I keep saying, if you're in it for like the narrative and the fundamentals, don't listen to me about the technicals. If you think this is going to 200, you know, whatever, fine. Let it go. Sebastian's 24. One of your parents or somebody planted the seed of Sebastian the Crab, and that's how you got here today. It has to be. There's no other explanation. No cam today because I was on another call, and whenever I'm on a call and start OBS, it just messes with the camera. Soul Rising Wedge. Yeah. I'm not one of these rising wedges or bullish people. And it certainly was not there. You know, it was real, but at the same time, I was more focused on the bigger ascending triangle, me personally. But you know, this is definitely a win for the rising wedges are bullish crowd. I would just say it's a different environment than you see rising wedges most of the time. You know, if we see a rising wedge at like 300 to 400, then I think that's a different story. Google, Tesla, Baba, Galaxy. Yeah, we'll take a look at Mag 7 in a second. So the other Sebastian's 36. See, so I don't know when Little Mermaid actually came out, but it's possible. Just got an alert on BTC. That's good. 116.4. UNH. Sure. Again, this is one like pump where it's like if you were a robot, if you were AI, completely agnostic to anything, and you're just like, you know what, this is what I know that works. This is my overlay. This is my framework. Absolutely. You know, is this up? Is this up more than anything else you could have traded since the breakout? It's in the mix, 12%. For those unaware, this is a healthcare company, down a lot. For weeks, people kept asking me about it. Recently, you got like this inverted head and shoulders thing into the cloud. If this plays out, which it looks like it wants to, 421 should be the level where it hits resistance next. So if you are purely TA driven, yeah, looks great. It reminds me of the Reddit chart before the break up. It's the same story. You had this inverted head and shoulders, edge to edge, hit the level, turned back down a little bit, and then broke out again. You know, you could see that. You could. A little bit of a bear div there on Reddit. But yeah, UNH looks like it's bottomed and it's on its way. It's on its way higher for sure. CAMT, LM and D. Miners we took a look at. I would just focus on strength. I'd focus on strength. Look for good entries. Oh, Gemini, yeah, how's that doing? So Gemini, the exchange, they went public yesterday, right? Gemini Space Station Inc. Is that the ticker? I guess it was today. Did they go public today? You know, it's what are you gonna do? You know, it's the same thing with CoreWeave and Circle. I have no powers here until there's something to like actually apply TA to. It's very hard for me to like understand what's going on there. This is CoreWeave on a 6 hour. Not really anything to do on a 4 hour. But again, you've got this W at this point. This trade is set sail, but then the next step would be edge to edge. Circle, I don't know when the right time fundamentally would be to trade Circle. That's why, again, I'm just focused on technicals. But if we look at like the hourly Circle chart, similar to the DAT charts, I watch it on the hourly and see what happens. Maybe you don't take the trade initially. Maybe you do. Maybe you just size it down. But it looks like it's trying to turn around. I don't know why this would do well in what universe, but I don't trade on fundamentals because I'm not good at them. So if the cloud says it's time, that's the time to take a shot. Coin we talked about just looks lagging. You either love it because it's undervalued relative to everything else that's moved, or you just avoid it. I am in the avoid camp personally. MSTR, man, that's another one. It's just like, to me, there's no reason to fret over why it's not moving or why it's underperforming. Because the system has said not to touch it. So if this can get back above 360, 370, 380, I would much rather care and have confirmation there than like this could pattern out down here. This could be the bottom. I don't know. It's just nothing, right? It's nothing. I don't care that this could be the bottom. That's not why I'm here to trade this. Like if this does well, it's going to 600 plus. So you can afford to wait. That's my opinion. All these people like crying over Sailor strategy and dilution. You know, you don't have to trade it. You don't have to hold it. You can do other things. So there's just nothing to do. That's it. Plain and simple. There's nothing to do. I don't care about the fundamentals. I don't care about the MNAV. It doesn't help the story. I mean, we can look at, what is it? Is it MSTR divided by IBIT? Yeah, like, does this chart look bullish to you? I was posting that a few weeks back, just asking Twitter over and over and over again. That was like up here. Does this look bullish? Ask yourself. No, it doesn't. Continuous downward momentum here for whatever reason. You can say it's related to anything. I don't care. It's not bullish. It just ain't, right? So this says you're losing value against Bitcoin continuously. Just is what it is. Just is what it is. Things a dog never does. When it does, it gives it all back. What's up, Golshi? Golshi's here on a Friday. Maple syrup ready to go for the weekend. Cypher we looked at. I don't know what schedule is, but I will choose to abstain. Stream whenever is more suitable. There's the answer, Glib. Maybe it's Friday. I don't know. We'll see. Sui near. Yeah, I suppose we should just like flip through a bunch of these charts. If we go to crypto. So ETH we talked about. Sol we talked about. You know, it's probably late for a fresh Sol entry, but hey, didn't Galaxy just buy like 700 million Sol yesterday? I don't know, right? Like, if you think Sol's going to 1,000, 240 is a deal. Um, Ripple. So I guess the expectation before we flip through all these is just okay. Bitcoin's turning up. Alts should be turning up as well. And for me to care about an alt, it probably needs to be up 2x relative to BTC. That's just now starting on some of these, but also some of these are red on the day, right? What's that about? You don't want to see that. So no bullish TK recross on Ripple yet, but that'd be the next thing to watch for. SEI trying to turn out bullish TK recross has looked like a dog for a while with this head and shoulders that just never went anywhere. So that's good. That's what you want to see if you're bullish. H bar turning up, good, right? This is what you want to see. Curve also turning up, falling wedge, not above the cloud yet. Some people hate, they absolutely hate how long this stuff takes to actually, it's like an ocean tanker. You're not going to turn on a dime relative to the cloud. It's going to take you probably a week and a half for alts, maybe 2 weeks. So some people are going to hate that. For me, it's just like, look, I've been here a while. I'd rather just wait for confirmation. So some people would look at these charts and say, oh my God, they're ready to full send, right? So maybe you nibble some of this stuff and you add on breakout, but LTC kind of hanging out above the cloud. Link turning up in an equally awkward spot as ETH. Just, like, I just don't have a great entry risk reward idea here for Link. But yeah, it's bullish. It's definitely bullish. Algo not quite there yet. ENA is another one. It's been choppy. It's done well. But like as I've said, I was focused on ENA back here. So whatever it does up here, I could care less, right? Like, so, I don't know. I got nothing. I got nothing on that one. ETC, which no one ever cares about, turning up, whatever. BNB, is that a new all-time high? I think so. Yeah. Aave, for the Aave guy, still making higher lows. That's what you want to see. That's a 2x. I mean, hey, it could happen. You're getting a cup and handle, just a 2x waiting room effectively. The question is just like how to size this, where to add on breakouts. Maybe you take profit in Sol into this. Maybe you ETH into this, gold into this, whatever. Just little by little, just in case. And then as it starts to break out, 340, 350, then you just keep adding. This was consolidated for a long time. Hype we talked about. It looks fine. It's done well. Right? Like nothing I say is hopefully changing anybody's mind on that one. ARB looks great. Breaking out there again. Pith, I would just avoid that one. That's just me. AVAX breaking out. That looks great. We talked about that. ADA breaking out again. Sure. Why not? Sui trying to get back into the triangle. On a relative basis, for me, it's always where's this relative to the breakout, right? What is the risk reward? The risk reward isn't quite there for Sui relative to, say, Aave, just because Aave, it's right there. It's pre-breakout. It's in the waiting room. This could just go straight to 6, right? It could still be a 2x, but I think, again, I want confirmation. I want some movement here higher first. INJ, similar deal. Getting close to a breakout potential. DYDX pulled back up. Wormhole pulled back up. Wormhole, I'd put it up there on the list. It's holding above the resistance level. It's above the cloud for the first time since 2024. This pattern to me looks ridiculous. It is low cap, so anything can happen, like up or down. I don't want to paint this overly rosy picture, but This is where, like Bitfarms, you'd expect this to break up. It's consolidated forever. It had a massive down move. I don't care about the fundamentals. It looks good. Clearly somebody, whatever's going on here with the liquidity, I don't know, but somebody's been trying to buy this, it looks like, without pushing the price up too much. Where's the... Yeah, so somebody's doing something, I don't know, just random observation, but Ondo looks great. Other head and shoulders inverted there. Ton still consolidating. That's in the waiting room. I'd throw near. Let's do this. Let's throw near up here. Pith down there. Wormhole by ADA. INJ above that. DYDX above that. Matic I skipped, but this one looks good too. Ondo looks good. There's tons of stuff, and whatever you personally people like, they're gonna trade. So here's what it is. Aptos still in the waiting room. Dot trying, dare I say trying. It's got one of these, right? It's trying. It's getting there. That's a 2x. Altcoin trying. Flow trying. So there's so much stuff that you can trade. So much, even IMX. Look at this, right? Like this is like the 27th resistance test. It's above the cloud. Cloud is bullish. Bullish Kumo twist there on the daily. Why not? Why not? What I'm afraid of is people, I say I like something, they're like loading up on it, right? Let's 50x, 100x. And then it just doesn't materialize. This is not about like calls or anything like that. This is just saying this is what looks good. You have to make those decisions on your own, but it's possible. It's possible. I don't hate it. FET, I think, needs some time. Ocean needs time. STX needs time. GRT, someone was asking about. It's getting there. It's getting there. Yeah, I don't hate it. We're close. Rune, I wouldn't touch. Tia, no. Maker, no. So IMX, probably up there with Wormhole for whatever reason. Couldn't tell you why. GRT we'd put up there somewhere. So the trick is to just be in the room where it happens, when it happens. That's it. It's like you might like one coin for whatever reason, but who cares? Who cares? If you're just applying the technicals, plenty of decent looking charts here. Much love starting from the beginning. That's what I would do. I mean, I would just go to the 2x speed, wait till it's over, and then listen. Yeah, AVEX looks good. Say looks good. Useless, I'm sure that doesn't have a chart, right? Atom, did we talk about Atom? I thought I did. Thought I did. Do I not have it on there? I thought I did. Looks good. Sure, right? Like, I think there's probably a pretty clean horizontal there. Capital.com. The hell is that? Let's delete that. There's a horizontal here, so I would like it closer to 5, but sure, right? Like it's consolidated for a long time at this level. DYDX we took a look at. Link looks good. See so from here, if there isn't a clean setup, so to me there's a cleaner setup on Bitcoin than ETH, Bitcoin than Link. I'm not saying those are going to outperform or underperform BTC. It's just, to me, this is a cleaner setup. So on a relative basis, I like this over ETH. I like this over Link. Those are like messy, still bullish, but a little messy. And relative to ETH and Link as well, I would rather trade ARB, AVAX, NEAR, ADA, I'm not going to touch ADA, but Wormhole, IMX. Like this is, if I'm trading shit coins, like this is where I'm doing this. This is it, right? Like this is what it's all about. So for some people, they're going to hate that. They're going to say, you know what, I'm just going to keep holding Sol or buying Sol, whatever. That's fine. It's just a lot of these still have not moved, still, since 2024. And I think there's a good chance that they're going to start trying to move at least. We talked about the hype dad, platinum, yes. I don't see, it's similar to like Link and ETH, right? It's kind of in a weird spot on the daily. This might not be the best representation of platinum. It's platinum and palladium, but one of the ETFs, it looks like it's trying to turn back up. So, you know, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Yeah, the China stuff was something else I rotated into. KWeb, as people know, I've talked about KWeb for God knows how long. Tried it back here, dropped it, got back into it a couple days ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. Still looks great. Plenty of room for upside. Plenty. CQQQ is another one. Breaking out. Looks good. Plenty of room. Baba. Looks good. So, just like alts relative to BTC or stuff that hasn't played out yet, to me, it makes more sense to trade KWeb and CQQQ than QQQ. Like, yeah, this is at all-time highs. It's probably a failed head and shoulders breakdown, but on a relative basis, upside here could be relatively limited to what you're seeing elsewhere. That's all. We've got stuff like XLF, financials, just hanging out at the breakout level above the cloud. You've got RSP hanging out there, equal weighted. S&P, you've got DJI, the Dow curling up. So it's just personal preference. Personal preference. But for me, if you've done well with the leaders, if you've done well with Mag 7 stuff, which we haven't looked at, let's take a look real quick, then you're probably rotating around a little bit, is my guess. NVIDIA, I think we talked about, yeah, we talked about that one. Apple, you know, it's kind of just like, it's not for me. I'm not going to trade Apple probably ever in my life. The setup would just have to be so ludicrous, but it's bullish, looks fine. Microsoft, similar to BTC, I wouldn't touch this until the cloud gave you its blessing. We're not there yet. Meta, still kind of hanging out at the breakout level. I think you want to wait for a higher high here. You probably want to wait for 768 again, something like that. Just because if you compare this to Grab, Galaxy, and all these others, Oklo, that kind of failed, pulled back. You always want to see the higher high. IMO. Netflix, I got nothing to say on Netflix permanently. Amazon trying to break down at resistance. I still like the idea of Amazon. I'd rather trade this than Apple, I'll tell you that. Google has just absolutely blown up in a good way. It's like the Microsoft trade. You know, it's like you're kind of late at 500 on Microsoft. Feels a little late up here at 240, just a little bit. Tesla, big day. Done great. We talked about that one. Uber's another one that's just kind of hanging out. Looks okay. Definitely bullish. Rivian mega red today. I don't like to see that, but just is what it is. It's a long-term idea. Looks fine overall, honestly. What else we got on here? Anything of interest? Not really. Roblox. To me, this is like the hood case. It's already done its move. The big move is over. Just trade something else. That's my opinion. Trade something else. But hey, it could keep going. I mean, Hood kept going, right? It's just like, why, right? Like it doubled, it tripled, literally since April, it tripled. It's like, like just trade something else. That's just me. That's just me. Now I didn't catch this. To be clear, to be frank, but I would just rather trade something else. Neo. Yeah, Neo looks good. High time frame continues to push. Looks good. Someone's asking about hype buybacks. Yeah, again, I am not a fundamental trader. I literally do not care about fundamentals of anything for any reason. Buybacks in general are bullish. I will give you that 100%. But show it to me on the chart. Show it to me on the chart. So you can trade based on fundamentals. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no issue with that. You just think it'd be a little bit more bullish. That's all, right? Little Mermaid came out in 1989. I just don't know. In America, we don't have a lot of Sebastians floating around, but I know I have an international audience. It's not so much that rising wedges are bullish, that more when rising wedges breaks north, it means some crazy. Yeah, I can agree with that. It's like a failed reversal pattern. If you're expecting a head and shoulders to break down and it breaks up, right? That's definitely bullish. Just reading chat. Can you talk a bit longer hold strategy? Longer term hold strategy. You're focused more on cycles. You're focused more on like power law. You're focused more on not day trading, right? So like my personal not day trading stack is highly focused on what does the power law look like? Are we there yet? If I'm looking for levels that I care about for cold storage, it's not a million, it's not 10 million, it's not a trillion. It's what is the back tested, forward tested indicator for cycles tell me? It tells me if we get to 475, I should be a seller. If we get to 350, I should be a seller. If we get to 250, I should sell a little bit. But we're certainly not there yet. You can also look at the 2-year moving average multiplier, which has been very good. We got to go to the daily for that. It's been very, very good. Better than the power law, I'd argue. It tells you when we are getting overheated historically. Last time it grazed this level, which would be 360, 370. So collectively using a few things, you can say, okay, these are the levels. These are going to keep moving up if price moves up. But for me, above 250 and I start to sell a little bit. If we get to 450, I'm definitely a seller. For sure. Don't appreciate the stellar shade. I don't know who do people still do anything on stellar? I don't even know. I mean, you could argue cup and handle, I guess. The problem with these coins that like don't move generally is if you're bullish this chart, which is basically LTC at 250, 350, as I've drawn here, like you really want this to go to like whatever this range is, 4 to 14, right? And this is basically what the ETH people are saying when they're like, it's going to 10K, bro. They're looking at this kind of setup on ETH. It's similar. So if I'm bullish stellar here, I want some absurd targets, just absurd. and I'm not day trading this. I'm not even looking at this like on monthly levels. This is like a moonshot, right? And the ETH people are kind of in the same boat, same setup. 8 to 12. We talk about stuff weekly, so don't fret if intra week I'm not as bullish as the high time frame technicals look. Because yeah, this is where people want stuff to go, right? That would be the logical level. Been following you since 2017. Past 6 months, I took cloud seriously and fractals. Better late than never. Damn, what a difference it's made. I mean, it's any trend indicator is generally better than none, and I just find personally that the cloud works really well. Works really well. Hymns. Let's take a look. We're gonna have to cut this off in a minute, but I have a list here that I'll go through for the video for the Nuanda Alpha next week. It's kind of just a mess. And I'm not saying this just to be anti Levi's, but it's like the hood case. And it's kind of like the Stellar case. Like, what do you want out of this trade? Do you just want it to be bullish? That's fine. It's chopped around a lot, up and down. Do you want this to 2x? If you kind of just equalize everything and you say, okay, this is already 10x'd in a year and a half, whatever. It's already 10x'd. Is this where my money should be? It's the same thing like open door, like it's already up 2,000%. It was up 600% the other day. But this is where people start to get into trouble where they're like, tree's got to go to the sky. This has to keep going. This is a meme stock. Everybody's there. Everybody's buying this. This is going to 1,000. Okay. I just don't care personally because it's already moved so much. What more do you want? I don't know. That's just me. Baba we looked at looks great. Grab looks good. Measured move on Baba. You tell me the measured move, long boy. Some homework for you. I did exit REMX as well because we broke a daily fractal. So we broke the fractal a couple days ago below 58. So this is the level. It's above, it's above that level now, but it's similar to the ETH case. I know this is way more volatile than even ETH was, but ETH broke a fractal way before it started to consolidate. It broke a fractal back here. It broke a fractal on August 18th and then proceeded to effectively do nothing until today, the day before today, yesterday. Even still, it's barely higher. So to me, the fractals generally give you a good sense of just staying out of trouble. And you could get back in the next time it breaks the fractal higher, right? Which would be, in this case, on ETH today. So that's why I got on REMX. Man, somebody just cheats. She's loaded up on just the memeiest of the memes. All right, 3 more, then we'll get out of here. APLD. It's a lot of fractals up there, isn't it? It's funny because the system's like, here's a fractal, now we're higher, add. Here's a fractal, now we're higher, add. Here's a fractal. I mean, yeah, it looks great. What do you want me to say? It looks really, really good. It had the pattern. Where's the neckline? I don't even know. Somewhere in here-ish, right? Somewhere. Multiple Kijun tests holding above the cloud. Looks great. Looks great. And it doesn't have to be this, but just in general, it's like, I would rather trade this than Hims. I would rather trade this than Hood. I would rather trade this than ETH. That's just me. 150% off open, exactly. So for paw, what more do you want out of that trade? Do you want another 150%? Which it's fine if you do. It's just, like, let your runners run. I get it, but in that amount of time, generally not normal. Pengu. Bullish TK recross coming on Pengu. Why not? Certainly more bullish than bearish. Altcoin, sure. Let's take a look. Not above the cloud, not for me. I don't care if this is the stone cold low. It's not for me. SPX 69. Just kind of ranging. Bouncing-ish. I got nothing. Bumble. Somebody keeps asking about Bumble. I got nothing. At least, if you call it a ticker, you got to give me the heat. You got to really dangle that carrot. I guess you could say IHS here. I guess. It's a little early. Are people bumbling again? I don't even know. It's a little early. It's been down only for, God, since the IPO, right? Another way you could just think of this is it's clearly a diagonal here. Clearly. And it's above, so it's a start. I still like it. Let's just set an alert at, like, I don't know, 777 or something. I like it higher. All right, speed run on memes. Doge looks good. It's above the diag. At some point, we talked about that. Bullish TK recross, price of cloud. What else do you want? Ascending triangle. What else do you want? I don't know. Looks good. This is what you want to see. If it fails, if it goes anywhere, who knows? But this is how things start. Looks good. Shib, a little early. Has a little room. A little bit to prove there. It's headed in the right direction. Pepe also headed in the right direction a little early. Bonk, same deal. Whiff, same deal, headed in the right direction a little early. Doge clear winner though. Excuse me, that's definitely the leader ahead of the pack. Bought the stock instead of the car, Rivian. Yeah, man, if Rivian doesn't play out, people are going to come for my head. I just like the setup, okay? I just like the setup. That's all I got to say. As long as you don't make a lower low here. Watch me hold this for, like, I don't know, a year and a half. It makes a lower low, pulls me out of it, and then goes to, like, 34, right? That'd be funny. All right, last thing, then we get out of here. BTC. What is? Hey, can you get a box? Yes. So originally, and this is kind of an example of what everything's been doing lately, where you get this great looking setup, you get the breakout, and then it pulled back. Right? We went over this at the beginning. Oklo, Grab, Galaxy, etc. So the risk here is you're getting, like, triple chopped out if this doesn't play out, but the box here is the measured move of the fibs from high to low. That's all it is. So this is where I want BTC to go from here if the breakout is successful based on the pattern. That's it. So I like it. Bounced on the 20-week, bounced on the cloud, back above the cloud. Just need a bullish TK recross. You've got ETFs, like I said, in the open, picking up flows as well. So it looks good. Headed in the right direction, definitely. All right, that's all I got for this one. Give me like, just like, comment, share, subscribe. Happy trading.